Hey, Vinny,
Yeah, Cardiff?
do you want to go subreddit surfing? I wanna go subreddit surfing. Grab your phone, let's go subreddit surfing. Cause I wanna go subreddit surfing with you. We talk to folks from different subreddits because sometimes we just don't get it. We explore all kinds of subreddits. Subscribe now or you will regret it. Do you want to go subreddit surfing? I wanna go subreddit surfing. Grab your phone, let's go subreddit surfing. Cause I wanna go subreddit surfing with you. Vinnie and Cardiff go subreddit surfing. Mondays at 8 we are subreddit surfing. 10 is too late for subreddit surfing. So be here now for subreddit surfing today.
Ooh.
Oh, hello.
Oh,
Welcome
hi.
to another edition of Subreddit Surfing, everybody. The show that every week we visit a brand new subreddit and we put a StreamYard link into that subreddit, and we let anybody from that page come join us on the show and talk to us about why they're there.
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
Yes.
That is the overall premise of what we do. My name is
Yes.
Vinny, and this is my co-host, my best spud, Cardiff Electric.
Oh, hi. How you doing, Vinny?
Good, man. Give the people what they want. Let's see that smile. There it is, folks.
Every week we turn on the stream, Vinny. I'm just surprised that you're still here.
You think so?
I haven't scared you off.
You are terrifying at times, but I will tell you this, buddy. I do it for the fans. I do it for all my subreddit surfers, my big kahunas out there. And I'm going to give a shout out to all of our big kahunas tonight.
Yeah. And one day Vinny is going to do a special show featuring all the subreddits that I send him that he said no to. That's spooky.
I have never said no to any of them.
I know, but you're supposed to. I was implying that I was sending you dirty subreddits all night, and weirding. Never mind,
dude. You've only
say hi to the big kahunas,
pal. You sent me the Sex Dolls website or thing even after we've done it. You just keep sending it. I get your kink. I get your kink. I know what you're up to.
I just want you to see my posts.
Okay. So aloha to the big kahunas. Surfs up to Slunk, Fred Rush, MD, Christina Marie, Detroit, Stoneman 623, Arcona, Brinkomania, CMOS 4044, Birch the Great, Mikey Shitted, Corndiff Zero, World's Worst Artist, and Kinky Loco. They are the official big kahunas of this show. They get to use that fantastic emojis in the comments, and they also get a little bit of special treatment when it comes to comments during the show.
Yes, we suck up to them a big time.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And you know what else you get when you become a big kahuna?
What's that, Vinny?
An extra inch.
A month.
An extra inch a month.
I do have to warn any of our female viewers. Unfortunately, it does apply to you as well.
We warned you.
Yes.
We warned you, ladies.
So you will be growing an inch of penis every month. You're a member. So, hey, maybe you're into that.
Oh, and allow me to give another shout out. Did I miss Kinky Loco? Am I out of my mind? At Kinky Loco's here. Kinky almost killed me today on the creep off. Almost caused me to have a heart attack right on the air.
Kinky, the plan failed.
All right. Cardiff, why don't we start this off with a Trucker Andy roll call, and we will get right into it.
Corey Cobaltberg is here. Jackie the Stroke Man. Richard Porter screaming for Sex Dolls Part 2, by the way. Corndiff, a big kahuna, is here. Zachariah Radzowitz is here. Noob Tubes, Takei 44, Gut, Big Kahuna Kinky Loco, Big Kahuna Stoneman 623, O Umlaut, Big Kahuna 0, Big Kahuna Mikey Alien Head Shitted, Obnoxious John, Flutter Dashy 64.
Mint's here. Mint salad, ladies and gentlemen.
Eric McBastard. Is that Flutter Dashy? Is that Mint? I didn't know.
ASC presents.
I haven't got there yet. Why are you jumping ahead?
I don't know. I can do what I want.
Oh, that's true. Dylan from somewhere's here. Birch the Great. Another big kahuna. But Vinny, the Garburator is also here.
Hey, Garburator.
And we have our first super chat from Purple. Hey, Purple. Purple is obviously here. Hi, Cardiff and Vinny. Can't wait to see you guys this weekend. I'll also be staying with Hannah, the review girl, so I'd appreciate ideas for gifts.
My
will
advice, if
not.
you want to give her a gift, stay away from her. Leave her alone. You leave her alone, Purple.
Yes. Are you going to be in
Actually,
Philly? Are you in
I
Philly
am
this
going to be
week?
in Philly. I'm going to be there for the live WATP Dick show at World Cafe Live. Very excited about it. It is sold out. It should be a lot of fun. Purple is going to be there.
I will
Cardiff,
not be there. I hope I'm not upsetting you here, Purple. I hope your ticket is still refundable if you were coming to Philadelphia to see me.
no refunds. Don't tell
Oh,
people that. There's no refunds.
promo code Cardiff for a
That's
full
not
refund.
that is not a thing that you could do. So don't lie to the people.
Okay.
Now jumping ahead is simping, Vinny. All right, I simped for Mint. That's what happens. Let's see who
Yes.
else we got. Where else? What else do we have in this chat? Looks like a bunch more people joined.
Oh,
Welcome to the stream.
Simon, Steve is here. Garber. I say I got Garber. John's Whippet Can. Billy Hopscotch. Some of the names are just better than anything we could put out there, Vinny. Squirrel Watcher is here, obviously.
Look at me jumping ahead again. The Bladcast said, "Glad I decided not to go now that I know Cardiff won't be there." How dare you?
The potato sells tickets, Vinny. The potato sells
The
tickets.
show's been sold out for 2 months.
Detroit sold out months ago as soon as they announced I was on the bill.
It's not sold out. There's still tickets for the
No,
Detroit
it's
game.
completely sold out.
No,
Don't
there's still
go.
tickets available. Magicbag.com. You can get your tickets. It's in September.
See, I don't really get how this promoting tickets thing works, Vinny.
Yeah, I know. Cardiff, I've noticed.
You have to help me with this. I'm not sure how.
You know what I'm going to help you with
What's that?
today? I'm going to help everybody out tonight because we're going to talk about the subreddit we're going to visit, and then we're going to introduce our guest.
Before you do that, though, Vinny, like, really, I mean, if Carl sues me for affecting his ticket sales now in Detroit, what would I do?
Carl will not sue you. He's already, all of his money is already fighting all the other lawsuits that he's getting. They've been coming down the pike.
Or
what?
Or we could introduce the subreddit that we're about to do.
Okay.
I was trying to come up with a segue, as they call in the business.
Well, you were, and I was not picking up on it because it was so heavy-handed and dumb.
Thank you.
You're welcome. We're going to visit a community called Reddit r/legal advice, a place to get simple legal advice about the community, folks. This subreddit is 2.3 million members strong. There are currently 8,000 people on that page right now as we record this. And they describe themselves as a place to ask simple legal questions and to have legal concepts explained. Now, is it wise to go to Reddit for legal advice? My thoughts are you get what you pay for.
Or worse.
Or worse.
Yes.
Correct. But we have a great guest lined up for you this evening. I'm going to introduce him to the stream. He is a member of the bar, and he is going to join us tonight. We're going to discuss some of these questions people have asked, and we are going to look at some of the advice that's been given. Hello, counselor.
Good evening, Vinnie and Carter.
So glad to have you on tonight, sir. Could you tell everybody a little bit about your expertise in the legal field?
Yes, so I am admitted in the state of New York. I've been an attorney for 15 years. I have served as a litigator in federal court and state court for plaintiff's work, defense work, personal injury, commercial litigation, bankruptcy court stuff. Tried that for a long time. I'm also into currently cybersecurity, data privacy law. And I look forward to expanding my education, my understanding by seeing what I can learn from this wonderful collection of people who will be giving me legal advice in areas. I'll give you comments. I might tweak a little bit, but I'm just looking forward to really delving into this with you two to understand what's going on. Yeah, no, it's gonna be entertaining and educating, I think. But yeah, I've handled all types of law. Been doing it for 15 years. I can't say that I'm going to give actual legal advice. I'm not going to be representing anyone, but I can tell you what I think probably makes sense.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah,
and the disclaimer is very simple, folks. Nothing that happens on this show is to be taken seriously. And none of it is legal advice for you, unless it actually is, and it's probably not going to be. Turbo Neil Breen says, thanks for the $1.99. I just wanted Vinnie to know that I'm here. So glad to have you there. So glad to have you. Now, let's dive into some of the questions that were on here. And it seems to me that the people who would go to Reddit for legal advice are probably not in the best straits. You know what I'm saying? Like, they've got to kind of have their backs to the wall, and they're just looking for a quick way out of things. And this is a really good example. The most recent post on this page, folks, is from somebody who seems to be like an irresponsible idiot. Okay. It's entitled Fake Instagram Account. Cardiff, did you see this one? It was posted in the last 20 minutes. I made a fake account of my friend about 2 weeks ago and messed with people on it. Flirting, whatever you'd like to think. Eventually, my friend found out about the account and didn't like it at all. I deleted it about an hour after it was made and informed her parents. No one knows it was me. The parents called the cops to investigate the account and find out who did it. I'm turning 18 in about 3 weeks. Would the police take this case seriously? Would I be in big trouble if they found out that I'm the one who did it after I became of legal age? What's going to happen exactly? I live in Jordan. So this to me is one of the posts I would expect. Somebody who did something reckless and is looking for just a little bit of guidance because they're scared. Now,
Yes.
I don't know the laws in Jordan. I don't know if they're talking about Jordan, Kentucky, or Jordan, the country. But in America,
Both would be similar. I think the response would be similar in both those places. Yes.
Okay. What are your thoughts in America, counselor, on this particular scenario?
What's our friend's name? Mr. Fake or Ms. Fake Instagram account? Who is it?
Puzzlehead. The user
Puzzlehead. Puzzlehead. Well, Puzzlehead can be grateful for the fact that the stupidity occurred while Puzzlehead was a minor. So don't have to worry about the fact that, your youthful indiscretions are going to be charged as an adult. But, however, my friend, there probably are statutes in your location, religious or otherwise, in Jordan, but generally speaking, in the US, you're going to have a statute that prohibits pretending to be someone else and cyberbullying and harassment. Sorry to say. So, that's probably what I think the law would say. I am eager to understand what some of the people on this Reddit think the law might say.
Well, here's a question, counselor, from one of our viewers who's watching right now. Waiver says, can you explain digital footprint? They will get you if you are heinous enough. How does a digital footprint work for something like this? I know that you have an expertise in cyber crimes and things like that and might have a general understanding of this a little bit better than we would.
Well, not cyber crimes, just data privacy and working inside the systems. But if the crime is heinous enough, based on this, it sounds like it's just kind of making jokes and things like that. But if there is a person who is engaging in certain type of activity, there are ways, and we work with law enforcement a lot, that they can track people back based on the accounts, the IP addresses, and things of that sort to try to figure out where these individuals are located, the computers from which they're accessing certain things. So if the person has done something and they want to go after them, there are ways to try to find them, using digital tools and real world information. At the other end of the computer, there's always a human being. So you might be able to use those human connections too, but they can find people.
What's interesting to me is there's so much like identity theft and stuff like that that's done online that's so hard to trace. How come they could find things so stupid like this, but so many people are getting away with that kind of criminal activity? Is it because of the volume of it?
Well, for this one, this person told someone's parents. It was interesting in the statement that they he said, nobody knows about this except I told these people, and now they called the cops on me. Well, you're an idiot. But if it was completely anonymous, that's the whole point of the internet. The internet is just the high seas where people can be out there and connect using different types of VPN networks and bouncing off of different internet service providers to kind of hide where they are. That's the reason why. I mean, there's tons of stuff that's going on. There are so many access points in the internet, either inside of a computer network or through online accounts. And online accounts that simply have username and passwords are easy prey for people to go after. So I think that's why there are so many of them. So they can't catch anybody.
Tiger Lily, I'm going to give that comment a little bit of love because it cracked me up. If this is about the legality of fake accounts, I know a podcaster in Canoga Park who'd get the death penalty. All right, Tiger Lily, I get it. Cardiff, do you have a story or a post that you'd like to share next?
I do. I did get an email unrelated to John's Whippet Cans question. I'll ask that. Maybe I'll go to that later. I'll go to my my first story here. Diarrhea in a sensory deprivation tank.
Uh-oh.
Now, counselor, this post takes a bit of a turn. So I know what you may be thinking now may be different by the time I finish this. So please pay attention. Title pretty much sums it up. I paid for a sensory deprivation tank experience, not realizing I had contracted the norovirus and was about to become symptomatic. Initially, I was having a lot of weird hallucination type sensations where I chalked up to the experience. Later, turned out I had 103-degree fever and somewhat fell asleep. I woke up to an awful odor and demanded to be let out of the tank, and it turned out I had diarrhea in it. This alone was a traumatizing experience, but now the facility is trying to charge me $8,000 to replace the tank, as they do not feel they can safely disinfect this. I don't recall signing anything with some sort of diarrhea clause. Am I actually liable here? What do you think, counselor?
Wow.
I mean, I like the analogy I would kind of draw is if the Rolling Stones went into a hotel room and they smashed things. Back in the old days, when they went into hotel rooms, they weren't signing contracts saying, if I damage this, I'm going to pay for that. You didn't sign a contract to get into a hotel. It's kind of an understood rule. If we're going to let you into our place, you have to act like a human being. You can't just shit anywhere you want, like an animal. That's the way I see it.
So this person you would consider liable?
Oh, all the way. Oh, I mean, you're going to expect people to go into some shitty Rona tank? No, you should definitely. You should pay. You should pay extra for the emotional stress you cause to these people.
All right. Well, for the defense, no one is there to defend this person.
I'll defend this person. It's not. She didn't.
What?
She didn't do it on purpose. I mean, she was a little whiny in the post. That alone was a traumatizing experience. I mean, it's your diarrhea. It's not like I initially started reading this like she got into a sensory deprivation tank and there was someone else's diarrhea in there. Right. So I started thinking that was what was happening here. But no, she went like, okay.
Wouldn't you notice that though if you're going to get into the thing? Wouldn't you notice floaters?
I would assume, but I
mean, I know you're a potato, but for God's sake.
But yeah, I don't think I would say if she walked up there, took a shit in it, and walked out, like she had a medical issue that caused her to diarrhea in the tank. So it's not like maybe don't they have? Shouldn't this deprivation tank place have insurance for this?
Isn't the expression the genie's out of the bottle? Once it comes out, like you're liable, I think. If I'm understanding,
isn't it?
That's piracy
counselor,
law, actually. Yeah,
counselor, isn't intent? Doesn't intent fall into play here somewhere? I know that's a legal word.
Is that why people in zany characters on TV shows get off without having to go to court? Maybe if it's an accident, oops, I didn't mean to shit everywhere. Maybe that could be your defense in court, but you damage the property. The law cares about property. I thought about it when you started reading the title. I thought it could go either way. I could think, oh my gosh, got in it, didn't realize it was there. That's a person I would like, or a pooper. No.
Would you take the pooper's case if they called you?
If they paid enough, I'm an attorney. Are you kidding? Of course.
Okay.
Well,
Fair
here-
enough.
Now, in the case, so I also envision a day where one day where this subreddit is being quoted in a courtroom, like where somebody goes, "Meow, meow, meow, bitch," 3 months ago said, in agreement with me, this is something their insurance should cover. You know, I expect the insurance will pay to clean the tank, not replace it, but that's not so again, I don't think
The insurance very well could pay for it, but you might have a deductible that they might have to pay out of their pocket. But insurance, if they have that policy, one would think.
Would it be considered kind of like a car accident situation where the insurance company could then come after you for shitting?
like you get that first one.
Yeah, they could.
First one
Subrogation.
free.
Okay. Mikey shitted. They caught me brown-handed. All right. I like it. So is there any other advice that people are actually giving them in this thread, Cardiff?
Again, a lot of people are. Oh, here's one from a lawyer. As a lawyer and someone who had norovirus induced diarrhea literally yesterday, this guy gets it. This is analogous to scraping someone's car in a parking lot, but instead of asking for repainting, they're demanding a whole new car. So people are going off on the. Again, starting to get a little sidetracked. They can just clean this, right? Not really discussing who's liable, but.
I would think that if someone had wicked diarrhea all on the inside of your car, then that you should be able to make them buy you a new car. I believe that's what would happen in a perfect world. If someone shit all over the inside of your car, you should be able to get a new car. That's just me, though. That's my opinion.
Have you ever dealt with car insurance, Vinny? You'll be lucky to get a rigid shop vac.
Solid point. Solid point.
Just
for a story about not so solid stools.
Yes.
Okay. I got one for us, gentlemen. Sure. I got one for us. Let me pop this sucker up. Now, I really liked this post because I feel like there's a lot of good advice and maybe lessons we could learn here, everybody. This is a post from an 18-year-old who goes by Regimental. He's going to traffic court for the first time on Wednesday. I'm a male 18, going to traffic court for the first time Wednesday. I was ticketed for running a stop sign. I pled not guilty and requested a trial. This is my first time going through any sort of official legal procedure. The stop at the stop sign was somewhat of a rolling stop, but I think I have a few things in my favor that will help me settle. This ticket is going to take points off my license, which I feel is kind of unfair because it was my first time getting pulled over, first time ticketed, and I have a spotless driving record. Well, you're 18 and you've only been driving for a year, he says. Is there anything I could do or say that will at least help me make it so that the ticket doesn't take points off my license or possibly lower the initial fine? What advice do you have for someone representing themselves in traffic court, counselor?
Well, is there going to be an officer there who's going to testify that they were an eyewitness? If so, I don't know how you really get out of it. I don't know what facts are in your favor in terms of whether or not you did it or not. What you should do, what people typically do, is they just say, I'm sorry, it was the first time I ever did it. I slowed down, but I'll never do it again. And you ask the court to just give you a fine, essentially, and not to put points on your license. Like it's a moving violation. I don't even know if that's one that does put points on your license, to be honest with you.
Well,
have you ever rolled a stop sign before? What happened to you?
I roll stop signs all the time.
You're 5.0.
Damn straight. Sipping my gin and juice.
Yes.
Nothing happens.
Laid back. So I guess my question is this. If someone is going into traffic court and going to deal with a judge for the first time, any basic pointers for this situation? Something that maybe the layman doesn't think about going into it?
Yeah, I'll give some very basic pointers. Number one, be respectful, be nice. I've been in traffic court before. I have a brother that just thinks it's my favorite thing to do is to help talk him out of tickets. And just showing up, looking the judge in the eye, being respectful is something like 1 out of 10 people actually do. Number two, put on some clothes that show you actually made an effort. Like you're respecting the fact that this person's job is dealing with the insanity in that courtroom, because those town courts are a little bananas sometimes. So just show the judge that respect and be sincere. And if you honestly have a pristine record, individual, whatever it is, Rocky number 22, then you can say, I made the mistake and I'm not going to have that problem going forward. And they hopefully will not give you points. But just be respectful. Right?
I would say so. I mean, I think judges just want to kind of have their asses kissed, especially at that level. They want to see people give them that respect. They probably don't get it very often, and it probably gets them off, don't you think?
Mm-hmm. I think I was about this age when I went to traffic court for the first time for a speeding ticket, and yeah, I was, I did a lot of the things the counselor said. I took it very seriously. I was very respectful. I think I also played a little bit of I'm just a poor student. I really played into I've never been in trouble before, and I'm a student on a limited income. I walked out of there paying like a $5 fine. It was nothing.
I did. I paid nothing. What I do is when I go to traffic court, I wear a low cut top.
What's that? A turtleneck for you?
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
To your point though, Vinny, judges, we call that robitis or benchitis. When they have the robe on, when they're sitting on the bench, they kind of take on a personality that's like, yeah, come on, I'm up here. Pay attention to me.
Oh, I believe that.
Oh yeah.
That. Have you what kind of things have you noticed? Like, what are the kind of typical symptoms of robitis?
Judges who assume that their opinion on the matter must be correct because it's theirs. Like the judge who said in chambers, which means in the judge's office without being on the record, I know what the law says, but I don't agree with it. So I'm going to rule this way and you can appeal me. Like that's kind of that thing where I don't care what the law is. I'm just going to do what I want to do.
Wow. All right. Tommy went to school for trees. Thank you for the $1.99. Longtime listener, first time live. Surfs up.
He's a very famous chatter, Tom, who went to school for trees.
All right. Does that make him a botanist?
Yes.
Okay.
No, he didn't say he graduated.
Okay.
Just went.
So he's an arbor enthusiast.
Yes.
Okay. Very
he
good.
Enjoys it.
Cardiff, what other posts do you have over there, pal?
Well, I found this one interesting. I run a small artisanal fruit farm in France. American TikTok influencers destroyed approximately 15% of my crop. Can I prosecute people in a different country?
Huh. How did they do this, Cardiff?
I imagine they were trying to get some viral video in a fruit pasture, but let's find out. As per title,
pasture? Is that what they call them in Minnesota?
In France.
Okay.
Trying to get into the local mindset here. I operate a small fruit farm in France that specializes in rare and luxury oranges and other citrus fruits. These are produced in very small numbers and are sold for very high prices to private buyers, restaurants, and upmarket hotels. About 2 or 3 months ago, 15% of my crop had been sliced, squashed, crushed, and left to rot on the ground. I liaised with local police at the time and no one knew what happened. The police suspected that local vandals or perhaps migrants traveling north searching for some food. We have had several groups of people head towards Calais over the past few years. In the latter was a case I wouldn't have begrudged them taking fruit. Refugees deserve to eat. Okay, blah, blah, blah. This morning, I was linked to a video on TikTok showing an American woman on my farm picking a citrus fruit off the tree, cutting it open, crushing it in her hand so the juices flowed out. Upon investigation, there were approximately 4 accounts posting similar content from my farm. Is this a kink that we need to investigate too? Citrus fruit juice pouring TikToks?
I don't know. Leave that shit to who are these socials. I'm not dealing with that. But what a freaking weird ass video of just crushing orange. Why this lady's farm?
I guess it's the color. I guess because she has these special exotic fruits that they wanted to use in the video. So it appears they've been repeatedly squeezing my fruits, trying to get the perfect shot. As a girl can be seen in the background in one of these videos squeezing a fruit before lowering her camera and picking another one from the tree. Without getting into specific numbers, I have suffered thousands of euros in lost product and thousands more from breaching contracts with hotels already have the supply of fruit. Can I, as a European, prosecute American citizens for damages? I have their identities from their TikTok accounts.
These TikTokers are locusts.
Essentially, yeah. Just flying into a field and squishing this woman's fruit.
Now, I have no idea how international law works, even in the slightest. So, counselor, any thoughts on this one?
Well, where's the video? That's my number one question.
Okay.
She says that there are these videos of it. How could she spot her own magic fruit on a TikTok video that they sent it to her? So there would be an email address from which it came that you could trace back to someone. But my thought is, where's the video? That's number one. Number two, in terms of international law, if she goes to the United States and talks to law enforcement there, they would probably tell her that they can't. Well, if the people were in France, then they don't have jurisdiction over it because their territory. So let's say they're from West Virginia. The only thing they can prosecute is what happens there. So I don't know that she could really come there. She could go to her State Department and ask them to try to extradite these TikTok criminals, kind of like what they do when we find a criminal who's in another country and they want to bring them over here to prosecute. She could potentially invoke the Geneva Convention, I think it's called. But otherwise, if she can't put a video up there, I don't know where she's going with this case. Not going to lie.
Okay. Well, I mean, this isn't the courtroom, but people just looking for general advice. I feel like I don't know here. I'm on her side. If she in this video, it shows like distinguishing landmarks of her farm so that they know, like you said, that they can establish that it's actually her farm. Let's assume that they did. She would have to go through the State Department that the TikTokers live in.
No, her country.
Okay, her country.
Yeah, if she said that local law enforcement didn't know who did it, has she taken it and gone back to them? It is a crime that's occurring in their jurisdiction. So the question is, how do they get the person who committed the crime in front of the magistrate with jurisdiction over the crime? So think about it this way. You got a neighborhood cop, you got a neighborhood judge. They're the ones who are in charge of what happens inside that space. But if someone leaves, you got to get them back there legally. You can't just kidnap them and take them. And who the heck's going to care about these oranges? Even if this person could pay someone to kidnap them and bring them back. Like the movie stuff, it's not really exactly how it works. So they would have to go to the State Department, have their State Department contact the U.S. State Department to then, under a certain treaty, utilize United States law enforcement to capture the person and send them back.
Okay.
That's how you would do it. Yeah, yeah.
I can't believe I've gone 33 minutes into a legal episode to use my gavel sound effect.
Hey,
Counselor,
there you go.
Counselor, I
Yes.
wish you would stop evading the question. We want the truth.
Okay, Cardiff, settle down. Settle down.
I was hoping you would say, okay, can't handle the truth.
I'm not playing that. I'm not doing that.
No?
I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that.
All right.
You're not forcing that down you're not forcing me to do that.
You're forcing it where?
Down my fat throat. All right.
Okay.
This is what happens. This is a great story I found on Deadspin. We're going to take a little break away from Reddit, but this is a story about the Reddit page. This is what happens when you ask Reddit for legal advice. Here's a horror story. A while back, I asked for advice on a good divorce attorney in a subreddit. Someone said, you don't have to hire the best or most expensive attorney. You need to consult with the top family attorneys in town. The lawyer cannot represent your ex to be if you've discussed your marriage with them. It's a conflict of interest. Read up on it. There are a few tricks you could pull to help even the playing field. Based on the advice that I got, I spent the next few weeks talking with like 30 people, 30 divorce attorneys in town, so that my wife and her dad would not be able to hire one. I never hired an attorney myself because I could not afford one, but my wife found one anyway. Apparently, they found out what I did, probably because it was so hard for her to get an attorney. And today, I just got hit with a motion for attorney's fees, saying that what I did was the abuse of process, an attempt to deprave and interfere with justice, bad faith, and a bunch of other stuff, and that I have to pay part of her attorney fees because I made it more expensive for her. Is there something I could do to stop this? This is in Utah. I feel like I've heard this before. I feel like this is the plot of television shows.
The old go and visit all the best divorce lawyers in town.
Right.
Game, yeah. I'm sure that was I think that was The Sopranos, wasn't it?
I think it was The Sopranos.
I think it was The Sopranos.
Tony did that to Carmela.
Yeah.
So I didn't know that this is considered abuse of the system, even though technically this guy isn't hiring anybody. He's just consulting different lawyers. Counselor, your thoughts?
Tony Soprano did it the right way. He gave them all a retainer. So they had his money. So he had engaged them. This person just talked to them. No, you got to put the money in their pocket to make it actually work for you, number one. Number two, it is abuse of process. So, and this is going to be, I don't know, if it's too much information, tell me to shut the fuck up. But back in England in the 13 and 1400s, the magistrate was the person that the feudal lord or the prince or whatever, the person who's in charge of the that bigger neighborhood, they had certain abilities to just tell people they had to do certain things. And it was called the legal process. Putting a piece of paper on you, touching you with a piece of paper was considered part of the legal process. And you cannot do things against that, the administration of justice. So they incorporated that into the law. It's an old concept. Back when they would take sticks and beat the truth out of you, things like that. But it's still here with us today. Yeah.
Rochester law.
Yeah, Rochester law.
Tom went to school for trees. Thank you for the $1.99. Vinnie P, comedian extraordinaire, hates improv. Damn right I do. More like improve. Cardiff.
And Robert Spawn, thank you for the $2. Cardiff, love you on with Opie, chemistry building. Yes.
Yeah, you and Opie really are having a love affair, aren't you?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
All
Going
right.
to visit him. I'll tell you that later.
What?
I'm staying at the beach house. But right now we're talking about subreddit.
Fuck out of here.
Right now we're doing
Fuck out of here.
subreddit surfing, Vinny. Let's
All
stay
right.
on.
Well, I want the exclusive on Subreddit Surfing. You're going to stay at
Yes.
Opie's beach house?
Well, that's what I'm working on. I haven't been invited yet.
Okay.
But I'm
Okay, that's more like it.
Counselor,
I think what you meant to say is you're going to be sleeping by Opie's beach house.
outside, yes. Yeah. The dumpster. Dumpster diving episode.
That makes a lot of sense.
Counselor,
Yes. Spud. Yes, counselor. Yeah.
Does a cop need to tell you he's a cop for him to arrest you? You know the old a cop asking you to buy an undercover cop asking you to buy drugs, and the drug dealer says you have to tell me you're a cop, or else legally you can't arrest me. Like that kind of defense, is that real? Legally, you don't know what I'm saying?
First off, if you're going to squat next to someone's house, do it in Scotland because there's a constitutional right to be a squatter.
Thank you.
Kind of temporarily, you can just camp out at people's houses. Number two, if they're going to arrest you, they have to read you their rights, and they have to show you that they have the legal authority to put you in cuffs.
I think
if they're saying like, hey, I want to sell you these drugs, tell me you're a cop or not. Sorry, that's nothing that the cop has to tell you at that point in time.
Gotcha. So like the old expression, like when they used to do the hooker stings on cops, when the John would pull up to the woman and roll down the window and be like, hey, how you doing tonight? Are you a cop? And they would never say, yes, I'm a cop. They wouldn't identify themselves. You're saying that they all believe this and it's an old wives' tale kind of a deal?
Well, if all they're saying is, hey, if I were to sell you drugs, are you a cop? Well, you're not trying to sell me drugs right now. So of course I can say, no, I'm not a cop. I mean, and then the person, if they try to commit the crime, like selling the drugs, if they're not actually going to buy them, then the whole thing is a facade. I can't see that they could like get into the car and actually have sex with someone and then say, hey, I'm a cop. I don't think it goes that far. You have to tell them at some point. But as you're playing up to the crime, you're allowed to lie about it.
All right. Cardiff, you have any more posts over there?
I do. Counselor, first, before I read you this post, I'd like you to just answer the question that is asked in the title of this post I'm about to put up. Is it illegal to hit a child that is not yours and that is biting you? So if you could just answer that simple question, and then I'll read the post.
Is it illegal to hit a child
yeah.
that isn't yours that is biting you?
So,
Fucking Reddit.
I'll give you a very standard attorney answer. It depends. And here's what it depends on. If they're biting you and you hit them in the head to get them to stop, push them down or something, then the law would allow that.
Okay.
If they like bit you and then they stopped and you tried to kick the shit out of them, that would not be allowed. So it depends on the type of hit and the proportion to trying to get the kid away. You go a little too far, probably not going to allow it under the law.
I swear to God, I hope this story turns out to be a mother breastfeeding that just had it.
I almost want to ask the question with different punctuation. Counselor, is it illegal to hit a child? Period.
I think that's another big depends.
Yes. So this happened days ago. We are still freaking out about it. My wife and I was on a small trip out. This grammar is horrendous. This is going to be hard. Out of state.
Obviously has a problem, Carter. If the child is biting them while they're typing it.
Yes. When we started,
they need to know if they're allowed to hit it off.
We were on a small trip out of state. We stopped at a rest area. Everything was fine. I went to the restroom to hear my wife screaming. I ran out to see a 3 to 4 year old biting down on my wife's leg so hard that blood was seen, just enough to break skin, bleeding, maybe a teaspoon. Teaspoon still enough blood. She was trying to pull him off, but was screaming as he was clamped down like a dog. So in my panic, I slapped him hard, and he let go with a scream and looked at me very dazed and ran off to the woman in the bathroom where he could hear a woman yelling, "Who hit you?"
Oh, Jesus.
I will say that we both freaked out and ran to the car and drove away as fast as we could. I took her to be treated, and they said she will be okay.
Not at the next full moon, she won't.
I know we probably should not have ran from scene, but we have seen many videos of people going crazy and just killing someone over a hurt child. Should we talk to the police to cover ourselves? My wife said he mostly was just walking around outside bathrooms and just walked over and bit down on her leg for no reason when she was on her phone.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think you're allowed to, if someone is attacking your wife, child or not, you're allowed to defend them, right?
Biting down on her leg, though, that's just so...
like a little shitty pit bull.
Yeah.
Voltaire 325, thanks for the $1.99. Is raising kids in shitholes Rochester/Canada abuse? Couldn't tell you.
Yeah.
I don't have kids.
Yeah, and I'm in neither of those places.
That's correct. He's in Minnesota.
Yes.
So, prosecutor, are you allowed to kick a child off of your spouse if they're biting them?
Yeah. Yes, you can.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes, you can use non-lethal harm, i.e. your slap, in self-defense. That is reasonable and proportionate.
But, it is reasonable. Exactly right. You got it. But
let me
I
ask
would
this
also
question.
say, if this person is watching right now, make sure you document medically that injury, because if that thing heals quickly and you don't have a good record of there being a pretty bad bite, enough to pull 1 teaspoon, very specific measurement, then you might not have a case. So make sure you keep those medical records and then chalk up those medical expenses if you ever want to go after them to sue.
Counselor, will you entertain a question from a listener? This is a great one. Robert Spahn wants to know, getting 2 9-year-olds to fist fight for a $30 prize, legal or no?
Like if you put a piñata in between them, maybe it could be legal. Or something like that, right? To kind of cover it up a little bit. But otherwise, I'm going to assume not.
Well, I'd like to continue.
Like they're fighting over the candy. Sorry.
I want to continue this discussion off air because I have some business ideas.
Yeah, is it a matter of cost? Maybe we have to raise the price a little bit.
Yeah, do you have to pay them a scale of some type to make it legal? Like, do you have to give them more money to make it? Do you have to get like their parents to sign a waiver? If I want to have child prize fighting, how do I go about making this happen?
If the parents sign a waiver and you pay the government their kick, you pay them taxes on it, you might be able to get away with it.
All right, this is one that I found earlier that is kind of interesting to me. I have an older mother, and she's always been a very generous person over the years, and she's given money to charity, and these charities just like don't stop sending her stuff.
Mhm.
So this subreddit post came from Brock Lee 9 hours ago. This is a question from 9 hours ago. Several supposed charities will not stop sending my mother-in-law requests and demands for donations after repeated requests to stop. Is there anything we can do? She's 90 years old, suffering from dementia, and lives in a nursing home. We do not have her checkbooks or credit cards anymore. She's also quite religious. She used to get about 10 requests every single day from children's charities, religious charities, Indian reservation charities, all kinds of things. My wife has power of attorney for her medical, financial, and so on. We've gotten most of them to stop sending her stuff, but there are 3 that will just not. We've spoken to them on the phone. We've sent numerous letters. They even tell me we won't get any more mailings, but they just keep coming. We had her mailing address changed from the nursing home to our home because she gets the stuff and she gets upset because she thinks it's a bill and she thinks she owes these people money. Our place, which is supposedly one place which is supposedly for an Indian school, sends her these mailers that must cost them a fortune. They will send this big thing. It's 11 by 15-inch envelope, and it has like 5 or 6 gifts, like a reusable grocery bag, a notepad, a pen, a dream catcher, a pair of socks, all asking for money. Another supposedly a Catholic seminary school, and they send these big stacks of 4x6 glossy photos of young teen boys that are supposedly enrolled there. It's amazingly creepy. I hate that we are then responsible for sending all this crap to a landfill. Is there a way to sue them to get them to stop? They're in another state. How would I do that? Can I just write to the state attorney general? Any advice is helpful.
Yeah, that's an interesting fact pattern. I think the attorney general is a great idea. That's what I was thinking earlier on, is that it's kind of a deceptive practice or something like that, and that they're being so aggressive. It's almost like the mafia. They're always there looking for a little bit, just pushing and pushing. Oh, I'll do this, I'll do that, trying to get it from you. There might be an argument that it's deceptive practice. The other thing you can do is you can contact the state that they're in. They're licensed as a nonprofit charity. So you could probably contact that state's charity board or
Sure.
whatever organization oversees that license. It could be that state attorney general and say, listen, could you please, you regulate these people. They have a license from you. Could you tell them to knock it off, for crying out loud? That might be another way to do it.
Yeah, could you
That's
please
what I'm
stop
thinking.
sending? Could you please stop sending my 90-year-old grandmother pictures of hot boys for her to look at? It's a little much.
I've seen these. I've seen some of these mailings, though. I've seen some of these where they're really targeting, not so much the charity ones, but the ones where they're targeting, seniors into thinking that they already bought something or they owe money. They almost send, a subscription like a bill. Right. Again, somebody that's not 100% there. That's just writes a check, sends it back, thinking they owed the money for something, and now all of a sudden they're on the hook for stuff. So yeah, stuff like this is despicable.
Yeah, I have a lot of experience with non-for-profits and even religious non-for-profits. And I'll tell you, the majority of their money is on, campaigns for fundraising. They spend a ton. Well, I can't say the majority, but a giant part of their budgets is creating stuff for mailers, advertising their ministries or their missions or whatever their non-for-profit is. But like this one is supposed to be a school, and they're just wasting money sending out bags and mailers and all sorts of stuff. That's not really helping your mission.
Well, it's like when you see the fundraisers where they spend $10 million to raise $1 million.
Sure. Well, the old adage is that it takes money to make money, but you're a non-for-profit. You're not supposed to be making money. You're supposed to be doing good with it. So, I mean, you got to pay the bills. I understand that.
Yeah,
But
I have one charity we give to almost every year, a little bit. Like it's just one that we've always had on our list. We send them a little bit at
NAMBLA?
Christmas. Yes.
Jesus, stop it.
Welcome to NAMBLA. Uh-oh.
Thank you for your call.
Uh-oh. I hope I didn't just out myself. No, but yeah, and every year and they're ramping up. They're sending more and more things to the house, more and more, Christmas cards and stickers and yeah, the shopping bags, all this stuff. And I'm like, you're literally sending me more than I give you now every year. Like, this is diminishing returns for you. Stop.
It's a hell of a deal for you. I don't know why you're complaining.
Yeah, I guess.
Be brave. Times will change. Thank you, Carlos Danger. That's so funny.
Scary thing is he knew that before it started getting played on the Howard Stern. He knew that speech.
Oh, that's a problem then.
He can give you the original number.
That's a problem there, Chicken Hawk.
It's still number 3 on his speed dial.
Don't say things like that about Carlos Danger.
I don't even know who Carlos Danger is. Is he a friend of yours?
Yeah.
Oh,
sure. I love Carlos Danger. Who's got beef with Carlos Danger?
Never heard of him.
Okay. Do you have another story there, buddy?
I do. Counselor, my boss sent me an email calling me the N-word. I live in Tennessee and work for a staffing company.
Oh, no.
That provides staff for hospitals. It is one of the largest companies in the United States of America that provides such services.
No one wants to be called a nitwit.
Yes. I received an email from my direct supervisor calling me the N-word. I reported him to Human Resources, and they investigated the report and had a forensic specialist is that really necessary, by the way? Do we need a forensic specialist to do an analysis on the email? Months later, I received...
You know exactly what the defense is for this guy. I'm not even going to let you finish this. I already know what this guy's going to say. The same thing every pedo and every pedo hunter video we ever watched on the Creep Off says. I got hacked. My account got hacked. Someone's trying to get me in trouble.
I guess, yeah. Months later, I received an email from them saying they concluded their investigation and the results are confidential. They are now also refusing to honor my mutually signed contract, saying it was sent to me in error and that I no longer work for them. What should I do in this situation? Wait,
So they're saying that she got the email by mistake. You don't work here anymore. Tough cookies.
Yeah. Wow.
I don't know. That sounds like there might be some liability here, counselor. What say you?
Yeah, I think first she was working through an employment agency. Is that what I heard?
She works at an agency.
At an agency. Okay. Either way, if her human resources department does not handle it correctly, then the United States Equal Employment Opportunity Commission, EEOC, has a complaint line where you can submit your complaint and they will investigate to make sure that there are no violations of the federal anti-discrimination statute. And that would constitute a type of harassment because the individual is a member of a protected class legally. So that kind of conduct is illegal. If the organization isn't handling it correctly, then she can go to the feds. The person could also potentially go to the state, but it's not like it's something that you necessarily want the local state to do. You typically want the feds to do it. So that's what I'm thinking makes sense.
So
you went through that experience.
Is there necessarily a crime there, or is this a civil? More of a, because I'm going through this subreddit and they're all saying, yeah, get an employment lawyer, get a discrimination lawyer, like you were.
Yeah, you don't need an employment or discrimination lawyer. You can just go ahead to the EEOC. There are, because I've handled matters like employment matters, and before you can sue in state court, at least in New York State, you have to first submit it to these administrative agencies, either the New York State Department of Human Rights or the federal government, even before you could sue them. They try to settle it, so you have to go that route. And you don't need an attorney for that. They will tell you either you have the right to sue or you don't have the right to sue based on their investigation. Yes, it's like the New York State Department of Human Rights. You might know about that organization. And anyway, After they go through that, then you can go ahead and get an attorney and sue. But you don't need to do that up front. And in terms of the penalties, they can have to give you civil penalties in terms of money, but I don't think that you can go to jail. You'd have to commit a specific crime under the state statute, like some type of harassment in whatever degree it is. But I think one email probably would not constitute that level of harassment.
Interesting. Even though it's the naughtiest word that you're not supposed to say.
I don't think it's one and done for harassment. I think it has to be a pattern of willful conduct to get to that level.
But definitely shouldn't have been fired for complaining about it.
No, you should not get fired for blowing the whistle on someone.
Yeah.
You should not say that the results are confidential. After you're done with an investigation, you should present the results, have people sign it, have people know what's going on, maintain a little transparency. Typically, that's the way companies do it. Sorry. So I feel bad.
Deepak Feinberg has a lot of opinions here, and I don't know my thought on this. If your skills are valuable, the only punishment should be you leaving. Suing solves nothing but cynical profiteering over a word. Pattern is the word. Okay. I mean, they got rid of you because it caused a problem, whatever it was, it caused a problem internally. You leaving should be the consequence, but it probably isn't, Deepak. Like, they probably don't care much. It's a staffing agency. They probably, even though you work for the staffing agency, they got a lot of resumes sitting around. It makes it pretty easy to replace you.
But how bad of a manager do you have if there's putting that in an email? Like, they got to be fucking up a lot of stuff.
It must be the coach of the Oakland Raiders. It's a John Gruden joke. Come on, guys. Get it together. All right. I got one for you. Jimmy. This person's name is Jim. They posted this under legal advice. I think my employer is fixing to fire me for reporting multiple instances of sexual harassment. I'm a 53-year-old male. I recently got a new boss. He's from Texas. He's ignorant, backwards, and racist. Example, says things like, she looks pretty good for a black girl, and I would never work for an Oriental. I've tried counseling him several times, and he just doesn't care. Now, this is the employee talking to their boss. Their boss is saying these things. I've tried counseling him several times. He doesn't care. Recently, we employed a new 32-year-old female project engineer. He immediately started making sexist and inappropriate comments as jokes. So we were all out at lunch, and his exact words were, quote, back when I used to ride Harley Davidsons, I put a golf ball in the bitch seat, and my bike really vibrated. And at stoplights, I could hear my girlfriend going, ooh, ooh, ooh. I just about shit as she groaned and made a not so happy face. After we got back, I pulled him aside and tried to delicately explain that those comments could get he and our company in a lot of trouble. I could see from his reaction he's never had any training on sexual harassment. He said he could see my point and thanked me. The next day, he made a bad taste joke about the size of his penis. That night, I called my direct supervisor to explain what was going on and how this guy needs some training. Well, turns out these two are pretty good friends, and my supervisor told the guy I reported him. This guy waits for the female engineer, gets to the office, then he rips me a new asshole about something minor in front of her, I guess to purposefully humiliate me, and then later revealed to me about how he knows about my phone call, and he and our supervisor are friends in a threatening manner. Now I feel like they'll try to set me up for some reason to fire me. What should I do? And a lot of people have advice. They say go through the TWC Civil Rights Division. What are your thoughts, counselor?
Same thing. I don't know what TWC Rights Division is, but same as before. Go to the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission. Document it. Make sure that it's not just verbal conversations. Take notes. Like, I spoke to this person on this time. I did this. I did that. Definitely escalate. Don't just go to the person who's doing it, because of course they're not going to stop. You have to go above that person. But if that doesn't work, just document it and see if you can find another job in the meantime. And if they go ahead and do something, then you go to the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission. It's a
I
long
feel like it would
process.
be
Yeah.
to be in that person's position. I would have a hard time not going to the direct supervisor. Like, you told him, I came to you, and you told him.
Yeah.
Like, at that
But-
point, I feel like you would have to call that person out.
Yeah, you call them out, but to what? What's the result? You get fired? Like, oh yeah, you're going to call me out in front of this young female engineer? If they did it in front of them, like they just fire you. Irrational people are irrational. It's kind of the way that I see it.
Yeah, they've already shown you they don't operate ethically.
Yeah.
Why would they start now?
Solid point. Solid point. All right, Cardiff, what's your next post?
Can I owe child support and just completely be unaware of it? I received this letter in the mail in response to a passport application I submitted almost a year ago. I contacted my Department of State after months without a response regarding my application and never heard anything since. Fast forward to today, I randomly received this letter stating that they denied my request because I owe child support payments. I'm 32 and have no knowledge of a child whatsoever.
Uh-oh.
This might be Nick Cannon. Hell, I'm not even sure I've even had unprotected sex, let alone with a stranger who I wouldn't expect would notify me of a child that's potentially mine. This is freaking me out, and of course it happens on a Friday when I can't get closure until next week. Is it possible that I have a child and nobody once has ever tried to contact me about my parental obligations? Is it possible the government made an administrative mistake with this letter? My name is somewhat common, but they attached my birth certificate and stuff, so it just seems weird. Edit, they included a copy of the June 11th letter they're referring to, but it has nothing to do with the child support or anything, just saying I need to complete additional form for my lost passport. So could somebody just put your name on a birth certificate? That's maybe the first question. Like, can a woman have a baby and just say Vinnie Paulino's the father, and that's the name on the birth certificate? May have stumbled on a new child support scam.
Does that form have to be signed by the parent? I don't know how that would work. Counselor, do you have any insight?
That is a great question. I have no idea. Can you have bastard children all around and then have, and I'm thinking this from the male perspective, I'm assuming the person who wrote this was a male, right? Not a female?
I believe, yeah. I assume
I
only
think
a male.
she would have known.
She might have known.
Okay. So, if you're a guy going around and having kids all around and people say, this is the parent, can it be on the birth certificate? I have no idea if the male does not sign it. So I have no idea. That's a good first question.
Yeah, I would just say I would take Captain Kickass's advice and go on Maury.
Yeah, the court of public opinion. Absolutely.
You are not the father.
Yay. Now,
but in terms of whether or not you can dispute it, whether or not you can say, hey, what's going on here, they should send you information about the state that is trying to garnish your wages or whatever it is for having, lost child support. There needs to be a document that they sent you, or they have to say you owe child support in this place. Well, then call law enforcement in that place. Call the county clerk and say, there's a judgment against me. What's going on here? I wasn't part of it. But call the place that has the order that's demanding the money. In all 50 states, not all of them, but a lot of them, they have a uniform statute that allows you to enforce child support from one state in another state.
Sure,
so it's no more Smokey and the Bandit for child support. You can't just cross state lines.
Right, but you would assume that this person would have to have a court order or something, like we said, a piece of paper somewhere.
Yeah. There had to be a lawsuit. They had to try to serve the person. Judges can't just say, oh, yeah, you're the father and you owe this money. They have to at least give you a chance to show up in court, that due process thing.
All right.
So could this be a mistaken identity situation? And then how do you go about fixing something like that?
A penis lineup, I think, is the only way to really get to the bottom of it, right? How else could you tell who the person is?
Thank you, Mark. Vinny, great job at Dabble and Big J show. I know who Mark is. Thanks for checking in, buddy. Yeah, having kids sucks, and being responsible for them probably sucks even more. So I feel bad for this guy getting blindsided like that.
And he can't get his passport. Can't even leave the country.
Oh, it's horrible. That's horrible. I got another situation here that you would only run into if you're a parent. in Texas, a GameStop gave my pre-purchased PS5 to someone else, did not check their ID when handing it off.
Guilty.
Now, yeah,
Oh,
Cardiff
sorry.
looks pissed. This happened in Dallas. My son's 15th is in a week, and I was getting him a PS5. I got off GameStop site for ship to store. It was the Gods of War Ragnarok Bundle Digital Edition, whatever that means to you. Long story short, I get there and can't find my order. They check, and it showed it was picked up. At first, they threatened to call the police, claiming I was running a scam, until they checked the camera, and as it was picked up just an hour before I got there. Turns out the clerk did not check ID on the guy picking up the order. The clerk had all the ship-to-store orders sitting on the back counter with the invoices taped to them. This guy had apparently read my name off the order. The clerk grabbed it, typed up some things in the system, and the thief left with my package. I got pretty mad during the ordeal and started recording. The manager was verbally telling the clerk everything he did wrong there during the interaction, but was refusing to make it right. He said they only had disc versions of the PS5 Ragnarok bundle available, and I ordered a digital version, the one with no disc drive. They're refusing to refund the money or give me another PS5. I need to know if they're responsible here. The way they tried to explain it, since I pre-purchased the unit, I was the theft victim, not the store. So they were under no obligation to make it right. They're full of shit, right? They're responsible for this, and they were the ones who got scammed. That's incredible.
Wow.
Talk about trying to pass the buck.
That is incredible. Yeah, that one is incredible. But they're absolutely right. That is complete BS. If they paid for a product and they kept the money, then they had to deliver the product to the person. If they delivered it to someone else, then they did not make good on their part of the bargain. Therefore, they have to give you your money back.
Or
Take
what you
them to
paid
small
for.
claims court. Yeah, or what you paid for. And that's an interesting point, because if you bought it for, let's say, $250, you have a signed contract, they had the product, and you could sell it for $1,000, and you go to court and sue, you might actually say, Your Honor, I don't want my $250 back. I want the full $1,000, because that's how much it's actually worth, and that's why I bought it as an investment. So your damages would be the full $1,000. Yeah.
Very tricksy, counselor.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Nothing's getting
But-
past you, is it?
No, but if they're not going to make it right, the only thing I could think in defense of the store is they said, you had the digital one, we only have the disc one. I'm sorry, we can't give it to you. Maybe they're out. I don't know. How hard is it to get your hands on one of those? Maybe they got their allotment for 6 months or something like that. You would think they would be able to just take it and somehow in their system change it to ship to home, repeat order or something like that. Like, it'd be that hard. Can't this person go online and do ship to home? But they want their refund.
It's amazing to me that the claim that even though you never took possession of it because you paid for it, it's now your property.
Not if you're in possession of it. It's a contract.
No.
I'm paying. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
What I'm
You're
saying
absolutely
is
right.
this
It's
person
crazy.
Never received it. So they never took possession of it. Even though there was a financial transaction. What a fucking dickhead.
Here's my I think you just hit on something right there. So to really kind of think about it big picture, zoom out, the corporation itself, if they do that, for all of their losses, and only 50% of people actually push through and get their refund because the manager feeds them a line of BS, then they just stole a lot of money. How many stores do they have? So that's one of the things that you think through if you're going to be representing a number of people who have the same problem. Can you bring that class action against a shithole company? If that's what happened. I have no idea. But you know what I mean? Good point.
And ladies and gentlemen, the curtain was just pulled back a little bit into the mind of an attorney in a class action lawsuit. You just heard it, folks.
You just saw one be born right in front of your very eyes.
I imagine the counselor is sitting in his palatial estate right now with dollar signs in his eyes, flipping around like a cartoon character. Oh, that's funny. All right, Cardiff, what's the next story you got?
So received an inheritance 2 years ago, but now the life insurance company wants the money back. 2 years ago, my mother, 2 years ago, my mother passed away, and I received an inheritance of about $22,000. After she passed, my mother's financial advisor gave me some paperwork for tax purposes. I filled it out, and after a couple of weeks, I received the check. And that was the end of the matter, so I thought. A couple days ago, I received a letter from the company saying they miscalculated the amount given to me and that I owe them $14,000 and I need to pay back in 5 business days. It's an understatement to say I was shocked, and I don't have $14,000 to cough up in 5 days. I'm a single mom, and that unexpected money was a huge help. I was planning on calling them on Monday to ask for some kind of payment plan, but I thought I would post here first to see what my options are, if any.
Okay. Well, I feel for this woman because, like, she said she's a single mother. She probably put the money to pay off bills, to take care of things for the family, fix up her house, do good things for her kids. And then this company, whether they made a mistake or not, just comes out of the blue and hits her over the head like this. If an insurance company overpays, are you responsible to pay them back, counselor?
It depends. It depends on whether or not you reasonably should have believed it was the right amount and then relied on that amount given to you such that you detrimentally relied on it. If you relied on their giving you that money to a point where you did something like paid for medical bills or something like that, and you don't have that money, but you somehow relied on it, then maybe you could argue that you don't owe it back. But if the contract says they owe you $4,000 and they paid you $44,000 and they made that mistake, in theory, you should know that you got money that you weren't entitled, that you didn't deserve, because you should know the terms of the contract. That's this legal fiction that everybody who signs a contract, including the beneficiary of a contract that was signed by someone who's dead, they all know what the contracts say, and we should all be responsible for what contracts say. Those judges up there, they think we all read contracts. Therefore, you should know you're not entitled to it, so you have to send it back. I mean, they might have that argument. What do you think of that? Do you like that idea or not?
I don't know, man. I don't know, because I guess I'm trying to think this through. I feel like companies do make mistakes like this, and what would you have to prove for you to say you were relying on the money, that you used it for normal expenses, that you didn't use it in an extravagant way? And then also, I get what you're saying, whereas in, like, if a bank makes a mistake and puts a bunch of money in your account that shouldn't be there and you spend it anyway, then you're just stealing. But like when this is an insurance company that mails you a check and a payment.
Yeah, through an attorney. So you probably have a reasonable argument that you should rely on it. But here's the real way to think about it. It's $44,000. Just push back. They should not pay a penny, in my opinion. Never give money back to anybody. Have a judge tell you have to, especially if you can show up to court the first couple times and say, Judge, I don't know what's going on, and not actually have to, hire an attorney. See if you can show up, see if you can talk to the court. But at the beginning of it, I would say, reach out to the people, tell them that they're wrong, tell them that you're not going to do it, blah, 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 and push them and say, I'm not going to do it, and see what they say, and try to work with them to get them to realize I used it for medical expenses or something like that. And then if they push back and they try to sue, then unfortunately, you have to at least try to go, hey, Your Honor, you can actually respond to things yourself. You don't need an attorney up front. Try to get in front of a judge and talk to a judge about it. Because I feel for that person. That's kind of gross. It's their mistake. They sent the money out, and the beneficiary did not have the contract with the insurance company. So this fiction that they know what these contracts say and that the company is only responsible to do it. Like, are you kidding me? This person gets a check. They spend it on things. They don't have the money. It's a single parent. So that's what I would argue. What do you think, Spud?
And it turned out farther down the post that now the original poster was starting to suspect that they were being scammed somehow, possibly as well.
That could be.
Yeah. So it's an interesting one. But yeah, I think at a case like this though, where the person that got the money isn't the person that bought the insurance, right? It was her mother. So it's not like she would ever know what a reasonable amount would be anyway. Like she wouldn't know what her mother's policy said. She trusts the company, would know and give her what she's entitled to, right? So yeah. I agree 100%. That's why don't pay them a penny. Have a judge tell you have to pay them something, because you don't know who these people are. Try to talk to them, try to figure it out. Yeah.
I just feel bad for this woman, because by the time you have to get dragged to court and you have to do all this stuff, you know, she's not going to know how to deal with this without a lawyer. She's going to have to spend money on an attorney, right? Reddit isn't going to get this done for her.
Reddit is not going to be able to probably sign a motion to dismiss. Probably not.
I actually had something similar happen to me once with an employer, where a whole bunch of us got our company was sold to another company, and about 2 years later, 2 years after the sale, we all got these letters saying we've accidentally overpaid you X amount over the last 2 years. So everybody got like a bill after 2 years, and of course it was only people that were still employed there. So my bill was like $5,000 over the 2 years that I was overpaid. It was like a commission calculation that they did wrong, and they were asking everybody to write a check. Write us back a check for the difference we miscalculated.
Did anyone write a check?
A lot of people wrote checks.
Get out.
I never wrote a check.
I believe that. Yeah, I believe that people did it. But what'd you tell them? I
said, no, I'm not doing it. It's your problem, not mine. And I kind of put them in a position, like they started threatening, like, you could be terminated for this. I'm like, go ahead, try me, I guess. And I called their bluff, and it just went away. So
yeah. Don't try the potato, people. That's
no.
I don't mess with the potato.
I'm a shrewd negotiator. Yes.
It's a problem, is what he is. So listen, we couldn't be getting legal advice tonight if we didn't get into a good old fashioned neighbor dispute.
Yeah.
And boy, is this a fun one. Legal advice posted by you Special J301.
Wave at your camera, Vinny. There you are. You're alive.
Harassing neighbor calls me a pervert. So long story short, or not, my neighbor lives alone with her dogs. A while back, I asked her if I could trim her tree that was overgrown on my side, and also that left non-edible berries staining my concrete. And I also have twin little girls who just started to walk, and I didn't want them walking in it or eating them. So I asked her as a courtesy if I could trim her tree on my side. Much to my dismay, she said no. And this is when we had a decent neighborly relationship. So I cut it anyway because I don't need permission to cut on my property. When we were getting along, I was installing cameras on my house, and she was talking my ear off. She was like, hey, if you can point one towards my side gate, just in case someone tries to break in. And I was like, sure, because there's only 15 feet between the houses. I wasn't going to get a better angle. Then the tree fiasco happens. Then she took me to court for a restraining order, claiming I was a pervert and recording her. And the judge basically told her she has no proof that she is crazy. Basically. But sometimes I have to walk past her house to get the mail. So this one time she had a friend over, and she felt like she had the balls to scream pervert. And she has done this multiple times. Fast forward to today. I'm out in the back minding my own business, had one earphone in, and spraying my house. She screams, you fucking pervert. Get your cameras and your lights off my property, you fucking pervert. Now, to make this clear, I have done nothing to this woman to even warrant anything close to pervert. The cameras are what makes her call me that. Trust me, this lady is nothing you would want to record. But I have two little girls who are getting older, and I don't need this lady screaming that I'm a pervert. My wife said, don't call the cops because I have no proof of a conversation. So I'm throwing a camera back there that has audio so that I can try to record the next time she starts ranting. Not sure what the harassment laws are in Vegas, but I'm just so sick of this, and any feedback from a great Reddit community will be much appreciated. By the way, her response to my cameras were to put two in her backyard directly aiming at my backyard. This lady's a piece of work. Wow. What a freaking story, because all over a tree.
Neighbor fights. That's got to be a subreddit right there that we need to do.
Oh, put it on the list. Put it on the list.
Yes.
Jared says you can take a restraining order out on your. You can't take a restraining order on your neighbor. He couldn't be at his house. That doesn't make sense. Counselor, what are your thoughts on this overall here?
Well, first, you can have restraining orders for certain things. Like the court, a restraining order is a generic thing that just says the judge is restraining your ability to do certain things. So you could say, like, don't call your neighbor on the phone, don't peek over their back fence and things like that. So they could have a limited one, but it doesn't make a lot of sense. Usually people move. Second, I used to be on a zoning board for a town, and neighbor disputes were the nitty-gritty area where the law really got interesting. People would put all kinds of things up on their property to piss off their other neighbors. And those were always pretty interesting stories. These people, I'm sure, probably eventually will erupt into a street fight, screaming and calling each other names, and all the neighbors are going to get quite a show out of it.
It's
But
gonna be a
what
hell of a
ca-
creep off episode.
yeah, and thankfully there are 1,000 videos there, video cameras to take care of it. But this individual now
You cut out a little. You cut out a little bit
pointing
there.
at
Would you mind
them.
repeating yourself?
Could wanted to call the police because of my kids or something to that effect.
So, counselor, you just cut out there a little bit. We didn't catch your last points there.
Are you there, counselor?
There you go. Sorry, did I cut out there?
Yeah.
You did.
Try again.
All right.
You did. Okay. That's insane. Neighbors suck.
Yeah.
I have cut my neighbors' trees before because they grow way over into my property and they have no intention of cutting them and they've never said a damn word to me. And I'd like to see them try. Yeah.
Come at me,
Yeah.
bro.
Yeah.
Perks the Great, thanks for the $2. Do lawyers love watching Better Call Saul, counselor? Better Call Saul. What say you?
It's a great show. People love it. Absolutely.
I had a neighbor. I remember as a kid, the houses across the street from me. They were all old houses, and they had like they didn't necessarily have a driveway, I guess, when they were built, but they would have been like a laneway in between the two houses.
Okay.
And I guess sometime in the 70s or the 80s, they all built garages in the backyards. So you would have to. This laneway was shared between two houses, and you'd have to drive through that to get to your backyard garage. Make sense?
Yeah. Shared
these-
driveway.
Yeah, but these laneways were like exactly the width of a car. Like if you were trying to get a big F-150 or F-350 through there, not
It
going to
ain't
fit.
happening.
But you can get, a Toyota Camry would fit, get in there, no problem. So I guess the people across the street from me, new people moved in, and these garages were there for 10, 15, 20 years, no problem. And then a new neighbor moved in, and I guess they were not getting along. And one day, neighbor A came home, and neighbor B had built a fence right down the middle of the laneway. So now he couldn't get his car out of his garage or into his garage. And there was a car inside his garage when he put up the fence. So this was a fierce battle on my street growing up.
That's
Cardiff. The politics in Minnesota are completely out of line and crazy.
Insanity.
I can't believe this would happen. So here's a fun one for you. Now, this post, I've just been digging through some of the higher rated posts from Reddit legal advice. And this one just screamed out to me because of how pathetic and ridiculous it is. My 21-year-old male, he's a 21-year-old male, Tinder girlfriend of 3 months is actually dangerously underage, 15-year-old female. I posted this on Reddit relationships and got advised to put it here. Some more things, to the best of my knowledge, she would never do anything to hurt me, which includes telling her parents on me for when I know she doesn't have a good relationship with them and they put her in some hard places before. Would they ground her? Would they take away her cell phone? What hard places did they put this 15-year-old? I've been looking to settle down recently and met a gorgeous girl on Tinder where we hit off instantly and have been pursuing a relationship for the past 3 months. Yes, that includes the physical side. Obviously, before I found out her real age. We have discussed age-specific things before, and she has always seemed so well-versed in her high school days and uni work that I never even noticed anything was up. The age on her profile is 19, and I never thought to doubt it because she looks about 20 anyway and has the maturity of someone around that age too. She asked me to grab some cash out of her wallet yesterday, and I found an old ID with her real birth year on it. I haven't confronted her yet, and I personally have no idea how to even begin. I was falling in love with her, and now I feel completely duped. Obviously, I haven't pursued any sexual stuff with her after I found out, but I am so heartbroken. I'm not a pedophile, but really have no idea how to deal with this. Any advice is appreciated. Wow. That's a problem. I think you need some legal advice, sir. Wow.
Now, counselor, could he not sue Tinder at that point? Like he was led to believe.
No, Tinder's content neutral. So that you can't go after Tinder. I am not going to speak to that fact pattern because that one's yikes. But I will speak to the Tinder hypothetical on that one. Tinder's like a marketplace where it's a marketplace for mate in one way or another. But it's a marketplace where anyone can say what they want as long as it does not violate their terms and conditions. So the person who put 19 when it was really whatever this younger age was, that person violated it, they could be penalized. But someone relying on something that someone posts on the internet on a free website, like, no, he can't sue Tinder for that.
Yeah. Can you even use that as a defense in court?
I'm sure you could. I mean, it gets back to that knowledge and pooping in the sensory deprivation tanks issue. Can you be completely ignorant of it? Are you still responsible for it? Oh, Your Honor, I didn't know that this was going on or something like that. You might be able to argue it. I don't know that area of law, though. Oof, I have no idea.
If Metallica can sue Napster, this guy can sue Tinder.
I don't know that you really want to broadcast it. I mean, if he goes to jail and then wants to sue them, maybe, but I wouldn't do it. That would not be my first. That would not be my first move.
Love to this beautiful 15-year-old girl by this evil corporation.
Isolate that.
And I demand financial justice. Vinnie's Tits, thanks for the $2. This post was written by Gary Puckett, of course. Very funny. Detroit, I'm just going to go ahead and agree. I'm telling you, try the leftover pizza. Reheat it in a fry pan on low with the cover to heat the top. Remove the lid and let the bottom get crunchy. Fuck yeah, Detroit. You know what's up.
Air fryer leftover pizza. Am I right?
That's it. So this guy has committed crimes. This person is definitely broken the law unintentionally. And when you find this out, you would say, I think the first thing a lawyer would say, tell me if I'm wrong, counselor, is cease all contact. Right?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't want to dabble in that one. I have no idea. I honestly have no idea. It also depends on what jurisdiction you're in, because I know that, at least I think, maybe this is a falsehood, but I think that in certain states it's not necessarily 18 years old. Like in certain states, they push the age younger than that. So make sure that what you did, whatever the person is an actual minor. But then the other thing is, I have no idea if you cut off all communications or not.
No,
I don't know what the rule is, because you don't want to poke the bear. You don't want to bring crazy out and then cause a whole world of problems. That's more common sense, not legal sense. Yeah.
Do you have to go like full Jerry Lee Lewis and marry her, like, to avoid legal problems here?
I mean, I guess that's the shotgun wedding, right? Kind of like, yeah, you don't want to get shot, so I'm gonna get married.
All right.
Now, counselor, would you advise anyone that if they feel they've committed a crime, they should go on social media and write a long post basically admitting to the entire crime that they feel they may have committed? Would that be a good idea for their defense?
That they crowdsourced legal advice? I don't know.
Well, basically that they went on
defense. I don't think it'd be a good idea.
Okay. I'm saying.
Oh, you're saying it's a defense, like admitting. Yeah, that's their defense. That look, I obviously didn't know this was going on. I just told the whole world about it. I don't think it's a good idea, no matter how you cut it. There, Spud.
Yes, thank you.
All right, Cardiff. You got another one for me, buddy?
Yeah, we're back to fences.
All right.
Bought a house. Sellers took the fence when they moved out.
What?
In Michigan, the title says it all. I bought a house. It had a nice fence around the backyard. We included a delayed occupancy clause with our offer to give the sellers up to 60 days to move out. Did the final walkthrough prior to closing. Fence was still there. All good. Sellers stuck around another few weeks. They moved out. View took possession of the property today. Place is otherwise in good condition, and they even kept some of the mail that arrived addressed to us. But the fence is gone. Yard is torn up. Looks like they removed it very recently. Our purchase agreement specifically said the fence was included, and the delayed occupancy addendum also said that everything needed to be in the same condition at the end of the occupancy period. When we saw the final walkthrough, our realtor has reached out to their realtor. No reply. Anything else we should be doing? Where to begin? In general,
do you call the police?
They stole your fence, counselor.
Yeah, well, the real question is, I don't know anybody who had a house closing recently that didn't have an attorney involved. So why don't they ask the attorney who did the house closing, hey, attorney, I'm supposed to have this fence here. Don't they have a real estate agent also? The real estate agent should be able to help them figure it out.
Yeah.
But if it's in the contract, it's in the contract.
But even does it have to be in the contract? Isn't that kind of included in?
Well, see,
house?
before they said it was in the contract, the question I had is it a fixture or not? Is it actually attached to the structure or to the land in a way where it's not easy to remove? I mean, what's the definition of a fence? Is it a blow up, some kind of structure that you can easily deflate and move? Are these panels that are just sitting there on wheels that you can move? Or is it like a real wood fence? Where's the photograph? Give me the evidence.
I just have to question this. Like, it would have to be something that would be questionable that could be moved for them to even put it into the contract that this is included. Because what person who's buying a house is like, oh, by the way, make sure we put in the contract that the fence stays.
Yeah, it's kind of probably stuck into the ground 6 feet. It's kind of hard to, you don't write that into a contract. You're right.
Right. That's what I'm saying. So like,
it's on a survey map. It's part of the property. Yeah.
Yeah. It's got to be something movable. And if they took it and it's in the contract, then the answer is,
Small
get a lawyer. Score. Yeah, Mr. McFeely wants to know, counselor, where these blow up fences are sold.
They're great.
They're
great in a windstorm. They work great in a windstorm.
They're fantastic. All
Ace
right,
Hardware, I think, sells them.
Vinny, have you ever been to Canada?
Yeah.
So maybe you can help answer this question.
Have you ever been to Canada? Have you ever been to Canada,
No.
Cardiff? Okay.
Do they have pizza in Canada?
I bet they do. I bet you they do. The finest poutine on pizza up there. You get the back bacon. You get the Canadian bacon with some pineapple. I don't want that, but people order it. I guess they have Canadian pizza. It's probably, you know what? Canadian pizza is probably ketchup on white bread, but it's still pizza.
Sounds about right. Cheese. You need cheese.
They use a Kraft Singles.
Kraft Singles, yes. Perfect.
Okay.
Actually, that doesn't sound too bad. Actually, I think I'm going to go have one of those.
Now, Cardiff, you told us a situation you had a while back with a hotel room.
I did.
That you got accused of trashing.
Of destroying, yes.
Here's somebody who has a real problem. Hotel room destroyed by the babysitter. This is literally for a friend. Okay, I don't believe you when you write literally for a friend. Trying to figure out which direction to point them in. They are a 25-year-old mom with a 4-year-old living an extended stay in Atlanta. Mom works during the day in a nursing home, left the kid in the room she's staying in with a 19-year-old babysitter. While mom was at work, babysitter had boyfriend come over and they had a fight, and the boyfriend destroyed the place. Like 80s hair band destroyed it. TVs demolished, holes punched in the wall and in the bathroom door, beer bottle thrown at the bathroom mirror, which is completely shattered. And that's just the obvious stuff. He may have shit in the jacuzzi. I don't know. Somehow, no one called the cops, and the hotel does not know yet about the damage. What is the best course of action here? I imagine it could get sticky with the whole domestic violence thing happening in mom's hotel room in front of a 4-year-old. Lot to unpack there. Counselor, any thoughts?
Yeah, a lot to unpack there. Did the babysitter come through some type of a babysitting agency that would have an insurance policy that you could go after? Or is this just someone you found on the street? I mean, proverbially on the street. If it's just some random teenager who was there. Either way, you're responsible for what happens inside the hotel room. We already established that earlier tonight.
Well, we did
So-
kind of talk about that. Let's touch on
Yeah.
this again real quick because I want to know this for sure because I travel a lot and I got to stay in hotels. There's pretty specific language in those contracts you sign, correct? That make you liable.
They have like terms and conditions on a little sign when you check in. It says, please see this website for our terms and conditions or something like that. They do something when you sign up for the room or whatever it is to make sure you agree to it. But just as a matter of basic old-timey law, if I let you borrow something from me for payment or otherwise, you have to return it to me in substantially the same condition.
All right.
So that's the way it goes for that hotel room. But the person's going to be on the hook for it at some point. Maybe cancel the credit card that's on file for the room right before you leave, so they can't go after you that way. I mean, I don't know. You might be able to come up with a way to get out of paying it, but you're going to be responsible.
This lawyer is wily, folks. He's wily. He knows all the tricks. John's Whippet Can says, I heard all Canadians live in igloos. Not sure if that's true. Cardiff, any thoughts?
No.
Okay. What's your
But I
next
do have a
quote?
question. I do have a question for the counselor.
Please.
Counselor, what's the difference between a vacuum cleaner and a lawyer riding on a motorcycle?
I don't know, Cardiff. What is the difference between a vacuum cleaner and a lawyer riding on a motorcycle?
The vacuum cleaner has the dirt bag on the inside.
It's true.
What
do you
is
throw a lawyer who's drowning?
What do you throw a lawyer who's drowning?
Their partners.
See, Vinny, I had a feeling that it would only take one lawyer joke before he would just run. He would have a run on road. He's going to go an hour now.
No. That's the most recent one I heard. I heard that a couple weeks ago.
Counselor, just let him out. Let him out, counselor. Just let them all out.
No, I don't know that I actually have that many of them, to be honest with you. I read that one a couple weeks ago. The other ones that I read recently were, what do you call an attorney with an IQ of 50?
What's that?
Your Honor.
All right.
That's more of a judge joke, but that's I'll take it.
Foul ball. Foul. I call foul. It's a judge joke. Game over. We're done with these dumb jokes. I'm done. So I got one for you. This is from this person. I have a feeling. I really like this one. Because I have a feeling this person was insanely desperate when they typed this.
Oh, no.
And they probably deserve to be insanely desperate when they typed this. Okay. And I say that just because of the screen name of the person who did it. Suspended bank accounts 1 posted.
Oh.
Bank accounts overdrawn, missing and suspended without warning. Bank won't talk to me. Hello, everyone. Yesterday, I attempted to log into my HSBC account with the app and couldn't log in. It kept telling me, there appears to be a problem with your account. Please call customer service. So I called HSBC and was told that my account was suspended and that they can't talk to me. They'll send me a letter in a few weeks. Today, I found that my bank accounts and Santander, I'm not sure what that is, have disappeared from the app, and my Barclays savings and current accounts are overdrawn by 500,000 euros, which is insane. That account has less than 10,000 euros in it. The Barclays accounts had a transaction for negative 500,000 euros with the description to reconcile. I didn't make that transaction, and I don't know what it means. I called Barclays, and initially they were very polite, but as soon as I gave them my info, the agent dropped his tone, ignored my complaints, and just told me that they are undertaking their legal duties without telling me what that means and that they'll be in contact. He would transfer me to a manager or give me a time frame. Santander have told me that they are reconsidering our business relationship and that they have concerns about the transactions coming into my account. That app says we couldn't log into your online services. This account type cannot be accessed from this device. I'm really confused about the reason because I pay HMRC all the taxes owed on all transactions coming into my business. This is really affecting my side business. Being able to send funds is a central aspect, and I can't receive payments or process transactions. What do you think is going on here? This is pretty wacky.
Does
Is
HMRC stand for Her Majesty's tax something? Is this a Brit?
Royal,
Santander
Royal Command or something.
Royal
Yeah.
coinage? That seems about right. So Santander Bank is it's a bank. I think they might be out of
Okay.
Spain or something like that. But
Okay.
first, if this is true, you have personal identification, don't just call some random 800 number and talk to someone who knows where. Go to a physical branch and actually show the person what's going on and figuring it out. Only thing I can think is number one, this is a crazy make 'em up, or because this is so urgent, and Vinny, you seem to be very convinced that this is true, then
I
they're the
don't know if
victim.
it's true. What do I
Then
know?
they're the victim of identity theft. They probably had their online banking set up in an insecure way with just a username and password. They probably clicked on some email, put in
The
their
victim
username and
blame
password.
drop. Vinny.
Yeah. They daisy chained it, meaning they used the same password for multiple sites, and they got hit.
So when that happens, what are your options? I mean, you just have to go to the bank and hopefully that the insurance that the bank has will cover it. But I mean, these are like, and by the way, thank you for calling me out. It's not euros, it's pounds. I'm stupid. I just didn't want to say pounds. I don't want to give you people ammo. I don't want to give you people
Why?
ammo.
What would people say if you said pounds too often?
They'd make jokes about me, and I don't want that.
Currency?
Yeah, that's it. So you think this person is either a victim of some type of scam, and then some other people on here have posted that they think processing transactions on behalf of clients sounds like the services could be used to facilitate money laundering, illicit payments by those clients, and in turn, through the business, your bank accounts. And some people think that this account just got suspended because of it.
It could be because so if you give a criminal your bank account number, those criminals use your bank account as the getaway car, so to speak. They steal from one account, they funnel it through yours, and then they send it somewhere else. So it could be that, or the person who has the account could be conducting illegal activity. You're absolutely right. I didn't even think about that one. You should assume that the person's the criminal.
That's a good piece of advice from an attorney.
Yeah.
Just assume that the person is the criminal. Fair enough. Cardiff, I think we got time for one more tonight. You got one that we could close out on?
Yeah. My company is forcing me to download an app that allows them to monitor my calls, texts, photos, location, apps, and internet usage of our personal phones. I was explained that they have the right to look if they need to. In California, the company I work for is forcing employees to download an app that monitors all phone usage, includes social media, texts, location, calls, photos, internet history for all the apps they use. This is not on a company phone, but on our own personal phone. On top of this, we are not only being monitored during our shift, but we're told the app will continue monitoring while we're not at work. This seems like violating ethic codes. What are my options? Can this even be remotely possible?
Did your company tell your coworkers they had to repay something that they didn't actually have to repay?
I guess,
it's certainly possible that companies could tell people this. The question is, what right does the company have to access the personal device? The only way they would have the right to access my personal device is if I either give them license, give them the ability to do it by downloading the app, just like the people who paid the money back, or it's be part of my employment agreement. So there might be a policy that says, device usage, blah, 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 blah. You need to do that. I would assume, though, that it would be for someone who gets paid enough to justify providing that level of access. If it's just a regular employee, they're not getting paid enough. There's not adequate consideration to monitor their entire life.
But like,
what if they didn't even have a phone?
What kind of access would they be? Like, you talking like an executive where they want to make sure he's not doing something dangerous? Like, what? I mean, where would this even be something a company would...
if you're a scientist or you're someone who has access to highly sensitive information,
Okay.
they might want to pay attention to that. There's software that's out there. IBM, I think, has a type of software that monitors everything that's associated with your device. And if you're high level or you're in certain industries, I know people who are consultants for very large companies. They monitor everything that's going on to make sure that there's no one who's accessing it from the wrong location, trying to steal information, accessing certain websites and things like that. So they certainly have it, but you'd need to have it as part of your employment agreement and get paid a lot of money for that. Yeah. Assistant manager at Home Depot is not getting paid enough money to monitor everything that's going on in their life. But sometimes companies will put a hook in it saying, well, if you want to have work email, this is what you need to do, and it'll make your life so much easier because you should have access to email. But I'm pretty sure they could say no. Pound sand.
All right.
Yeah.
Counselor, I thank you so much for your time tonight.
Yes,
Before you leave, I have one final question for you, and it's kind of an important one. And we have a lot of folks watching right now, and I know that your specialty has been more in the cyber security and side of things. So I'm wondering if you have any basic tips for our viewers to protect themselves online.
Basic tips to protect yourself online. For all of your accounts, use multi-factor authentication, complex passwords, and for whatever type of environment you have, try to disable as much access and as many systems and as much information as you have kind of stored in a place that's accessible to a lot of people. So if you have, like, I deal with a lot of companies that will have systems that are accessible to a lot of people, and things happen on those systems just because people are kind of sloppy with it. But multi-factor authentication is fundamental for any online accounts, and then minimizing your online footprint or your internet accessible footprint makes sense. Those are just two basic things that we tell a lot of people.
All right.
Yeah.
Folks, it's important to be careful out there. Counselor, I appreciate you coming on tonight. It's always fun to talk to you, and hope to see you around at some point soon. And you're welcome on Subreddit Surfing anytime.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Counselor.
Thank you. We'll talk again. All right.
Oh, no, I forgot. Oh, I had one more. Well, next time I'm going to have to get his email, because I had someone reach out with a question where they had a friend who is scamming the disability of their government and is making money on YouTube and Spotify. And they want to know how he can protect himself from an anonymous email.
Because they don't want the government to find out that they're earning all this money online.
Yes.
Okay. And this is your friend.
A random email I got in my email box.
Okay. All right, folks. If anybody has any information for Cardiff's anonymous friend who's scamming the government in Canada, feel free to forward that information.
I never said Canada.
Oh, I did. Somebody say Canada?
No, nobody said Canada or Minnesota.
Of course,
none of those things were said.
All right. Well, Cardiff, we'll be back again next week with another edition of Subreddit Surfing. Please, folks, remember you can email the show at subredditsurfing@gmail.com. And if you want to leave us a text message or a voicemail, the number is 585-348-8069. Please make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel. We really appreciate that. It helps us out tremendously. Leave a comment. Yeah, click like, leave a comment. And if you want to be a big kahuna and join the fun, we really appreciate that. So until next week, Cardiff, what do we say to everybody?
Did we want to let everyone know what's going to be happening with the show?
Oh, goodness me. We have a big announcement.
Huge.
How did we let it slip to this far at the end of the show?
People, you know how Garfield always used to say everybody hates Mondays? Well, if you agree with Garfield, then you're going to love this announcement.
Starting which day, Cardiff? March what? May what?
10th. May 10th.
May 10th. We will for the summer, we are going to be going live Wednesday nights at 8 o'clock. I'm very upset about this. We're going to be going up against AEW Dynamite. I don't know what I'm going to do, but I think we'll probably still have better ratings than they do.
But we will no longer be competing with Monday Night Raw. So
Oh yeah,
it's a win-win.
we were fucking beating them. All right, Cardiff. We'll be back next week. Vinny's tits are large and juicy.
Thank
Thanks
you,
for the
Vinny
$2.
Stitz.
He's right. We'll see you guys again soon. Until next time, take it easy. Aloha, big kahunas.
Surf's up.